My
Yeah.
next questions to you is that do you see any kind of common mistake that is when I talk to you, I usually assume that you are an expert in industrial products because in Stanley
Mhm.
Black and Decker we buy a lot of industrial related the item that used in workshop, used in
Yeah.
which in manufacturers, those kind of product. This is your expertise. But when you're facing those supplier, do you see any common problems, common mistake they have that
Hmm. Hmm.
that really touch you and you want to share with us?
Yeah. One of the thing I think there's a lot of improvement area. We buy a lot from China, and that's a common. I would say is could be a mistake, could be the practice. I would say, and that's even
Mm-hmm.
better, bigger problem, right? Just making it a mistake as a practice. So typically, as I think back to what I said, right, when you get started on a project, right, or product that a vendor supply, typically is okay. However, when times go, right, and because of whatever reason, because of cost pressure, because of profitability, because of the availability of the material, you
Materials.
start to see the variation, right? That's the common mistake, right? Then performance start to go up and down. And if you look at the chart, right, it's like coming up and down. You don't expect the consistency there, right? So
Yeah.
I think that what this is one very important from as a manufacturing nation, not mentioning about China,
Yeah.
which is you better to control not just the making the short term gain, but also a consistent performance, right? No matter
Yeah.
it's cost, no matter it is performance, and no matter it's quality. So
Yeah.
that's very critical. It's pretty much what I see from my experience. That's very, very, it's quite common that you are seeing the variation coming up after you start a couple of month
Yeah.
of business. Then you start to different and drive a different angle.
Yes, right. I think this variation, as you said, is really eating up a lot of resource from any of the supply management organization. The
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. I think most of the time, either sourcing and quality controls people are dealing with is just because the variation you mentioned. But
Hmm.
my only experience that when no
Hmm.
matter how good they have showed to you as a customer their quality system, the problem still exists. Yes, this is I can see pretty sure there is a gap between the theoretical system and the implementation. Yeah, that point
Hmm.
I myself I'd like
Hmm.
to mention. I believe you see the same things, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And another thing I would see, this is hardware, right? Another software of the people are missing here. Typically in sourcing, they are very specific for manufacturing. However, when you cooperate for such I would not say big, but such a long history company like us, right? We have to understand what this company's initiative and strategy. Without understanding that, right, you are participating as a very different angle. So for example, if this company is driving to certain KPI, for example, it is working capital for us, right? So the requirement for payment is very important. If you are holding that up, or in terms of the payment, and the collection is not up to the standard, but financially, then you are not very close to this, in line of the strategy of this company. That's one thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously, big company like this, they have so many division. So understanding the people who make decisions is important too. People are so important. If you don't find, if the 10 people that you spend time of, if people have a different equal time, you're losing focus. So finding up from such a big organization who are decision maker is very important, and keep
That
the
is it.
relationship on that.
Exactly. This is a very big habit for most people trying to entry a Fortune 500 customer. They always,
Hmm.
yeah, sometime I want to launch
Hmm.
a program to tell them about the different titles and what this means to them. That could be very
Yeah.
meaningful for supplier, I think. Okay, okay.
Right.
That's
Right.
very good. That's
Exactly.
very good. Yeah.